that the Congress is not answering satisfactorily. It's not as if there's a problem in the state government handing these over to the private hospitals. It is the impulse to profiteer from the pandemic which is highly questionable. Raghav Chadha.
Look, first of all, the vaccines that belong to the state quota that should have been ideally administered to citizens absolutely free of cost at the government-run centers were diverted to private hospitals. An artificial shortage, and I say these things with a sense of responsibility, Rahul, an artificial shortage of vaccines in the state of Punjab was created by the Capt Amarinder government. Then you sell these vaccines to the private hospitals. They further charge, they add a premium to it and charge an exorbitant price from the people of the state of Punjab. And a dose of vaccine that should have costed 0 rupees to an ordinary citizen was being sold to them at a price of 1,520 rupees. Now, if this is not black marketing, then what is? Something that should have been made available at 0 cost is being made available to a citizen at rupees 1,520 rupees. Number one.
Okay.
Number two, Rahul, you see, it is also important to understand who all are involved in this, who all have received the kickbacks, because the process is very simple. You sell a commodity that is perceived to be scarce to a private institution. That private institution sells it at a higher price, and the private institution usually bribes some members of the government, of the administration. Now, my question is, was there any change of money? Who all were involved? What was the amount of kickbacks? Who were the ministers involved? And the Capt Amarinder Singh government must answer. You know, Punjab, Rahul, and you know this because you belong to the state, has been ridden with scams. We've seen land mafia, sand mafia, cable TV mafia, transport mafia, all sorts of scams in Punjab over the last few decades. But we never saw a vaccine scam. Now we really have a situation where in the pandemic, when people are losing lives, a government which is losing support within its own members, within its own MLAs, is now hell-bent on using every opportunity to
Ajay
please
Kumar,
the people
respond
of
to
Punjab.
Raghav Chadha. His direct charge is the only conceivable reason it makes sense for the state government to sell at 1,000+ rupees to private hospitals, and then there's another markup, is because someone somewhere in the Punjab government made money. Otherwise, it simply makes no sense. Those vaccines should have been given either for free or at minimal cost. The government couldn't and shouldn't have wanted to profit here unless Raghav Chadha is alleging someone was making money.
You know, it's very rich on the Aam Aadmi Party to make such statements. But why would a government make a noting on a file? I mean, if this is the corruption idea of a corruption, the government is officially saying it in a file. I mean, I can understand bad decision. It was reversed, except once. I'll just complete round. I can understand bad decisions. And the government correctly said, they're in noting of the file saying that since the distribution of vaccines in the private sector are not available across any hospital except the 2, so we have bought it for 400 and distributing to the rest of them. And whether it was a well thought out decision, debatable, and I agree. And since it did seem when the decision came, was widely circulated, the government decided, look, it's a bad idea.
Okay, Manjinder Singh Sirsa,
No.
the Congress